You're standing in a room full of people who like you, and you've never felt more alone. Not because anyone's cruel, not because you don't fit in. You fit in fine. You smile at the right moments. You laugh on cue. But behind your eyes, a second conversation is running. Faster. Deeper. 3 steps ahead. And there's no one in the room you can hand it to. If that just landed somewhere in your chest, stay with me. Because the loneliness of a very high IQ isn't sadness, and it isn't arrogance. It's a wiring problem. Your brain runs the world at a speed the people around you simply don't. And that gap, repeated 1,000 times a day, carries a cost almost no one talks about. This isn't about feeling smart. We're going to get into what's actually going on inside a high IQ brain, the quiet ways it ends up pushing people away, and what actually helps. Fair warning, some of this is going to feel uncomfortably specific. Good. That means it's yours. So where does this start? Because no one is born feeling alone in a crowd. It starts with speed. A high IQ brain doesn't just hold more. It processes faster, and it links things that look unrelated. A normal brain hears a sentence and takes it at face value. Yours hears the sentence, the tone underneath it, the thing left unsaid, and 3 reasons the person might have said it at all. All at once, in a fraction of a second. When you're young, you don't know this is unusual. You assume everyone's mind works like yours. So you say what you're thinking out loud. The link between the dinosaurs and the weather, the question the teacher can't answer. And you watch the room go quiet. Sometimes the other kids laugh. Sometimes an adult says, "Where do you even come up with this?" And slowly, without ever deciding to, you learn one thing. The inside of your head isn't safe to show. That's the first wound. Not being disliked. Being misread. And there's a part of the brain that explains what happens next. A researcher named Marcus Reichel at Washington University found what's called the default mode network, the system that fires when you're not focused on anything, when your mind drifts inward. In a fast, complex brain, that network runs hot. It barely shuts off. So even when you're alone and safe, the machine keeps going, keeps analyzing, keeps reaching for someone to think alongside. You weren't built to be distant. You were built to connect deeper than most people ever go. And when you can't find that depth, the very thing that makes you brilliant is the thing that makes you lonely. Sign 1. The translation gap. It's a Tuesday, nothing special. Someone's telling a story at lunch, and 4 sentences in, you already know the ending. You know the point they're building to. You know the joke they're about to land. You can even feel the thing they're quietly upset about, underneath the story they're actually telling. So you sit there, nodding, holding a finished thought in your hands while they slowly catch up to it. For most people, a conversation is 2 people walking at the same pace. For you, it's you arriving, then waiting. Over and over. A psychologist at Cambridge named Simon Baron-Cohen spent years studying what's called theory of mind, the brain's ability to model what's going on inside someone else's head. In a high IQ brain, that dial is turned way up. You don't just hear people, you simulate them. You're running their whole inner world in the background while they're still mid-sentence. And that sounds like a gift. Sometimes it is. The cost shows up somewhere quieter. You start editing yourself in real time. You say the first half of a thought, watch their face, realize they're not there yet, and swallow the rest. Never mind, it's not important. You've done it so many times you don't even notice anymore. The problem was never that people are slow. They're not. It's that you almost never get met at full speed. You translate yourself down all day long, and translation is tiring. Being the only person in the room who's fluent in your own language is its own kind of alone. Sign 2. The dimmer switch. Most people spend their lives trying to be seen. You've spent yours learning when to disappear. Somewhere along the way, you worked out that the full version of you makes rooms tense. You use the exact right word, and someone calls you a show-off. You correct one small fact, and the whole mood drops. You get genuinely excited about something complex, and you watch their eyes glaze over. So you learned to dim. You round your vocabulary down. You pretend to think about an answer you already had. You let things go that you'd love to pull apart, because being right one more time costs more than it's worth. There's a name for this. A psychologist at Stanford named James Gross studies what he calls expressive suppression, feeling something fully on the inside while showing almost nothing on the outside. His work found it actually does the job. The people around you stay comfortable, but it quietly raises your own stress and chips away at your sense of connection. You're buying other people's ease with your own. And the cruel part is how well it works. You dim yourself for years. People relax around you, and they call you easygoing. Low-key. Chill. They have no idea it's a performance. They're comfortable with a version of you that you built, on purpose, so they'd be comfortable. So yes, you're accepted. But the one being accepted isn't quite you. And there's a specific kind of loneliness in being loved for the self you had to shrink to fit. Sign 3. The empty room after small talk. You can do small talk. That's the strange part. You're not awkward. You ask about the weekend. You say the weather's been crazy. You do the little dance. Yeah. No, totally. For sure. 3 phrases running on autopilot while some part of you stands off to the side, watching, waiting for the real conversation to start. And it never does. Because that was the conversation. The whole thing. And you walk out to your car afterward, feeling something most people don't even have a word for. You weren't alone in there. There were people. There was laughing. It was fine. But you came out emptier than you went in. It's not that you think you're above small talk. You'd give anything to enjoy it the way everyone else seems to. They get topped up by it. You just get drained. 20 minutes about a commute and a TV show, and you can feel your battery dropping because none of it touched anything real. What you're actually starving for is one conversation that goes past the surface. One person who, when you say something true, says something true back. And that hunger makes the casual stuff almost painful, like being thirsty in a room where everyone keeps passing around empty cups. So you stop reaching for the deep one. You stop expecting it. You become the friendly person who's good in a crowd and goes home hollow, and not one of them can tell. Sign 4. Seeing too far ahead. Nobody warns you about this one. You're at the start of something good. A new friendship, a new job, a first date that's actually going well. And while everyone else is just enjoying it, part of your mind has already run the whole thing to the end. You can see how it probably plays out. The way this person will likely let you down in about 4 months. The crack in the plan everyone's excited about. The reason the happy thing is more fragile than it looks. A neuroscientist at University College London named Carl Friston helped popularize a now famous idea, that the brain, at its core, is a prediction machine. Long before something happens, your brain has already guessed what's coming, so you're never caught flat-footed. Everyone's brain does this. The difference is reach. A faster brain doesn't stop at guessing the next second. It guesses the next season. And it quietly steals things from you. While your friends are laughing at a moment, You're 3 moves ahead, already bracing. You struggle to be surprised. You struggle to just be here, because here is never the only place your mind is standing. People read it as pessimism. It isn't. You're not hoping things go wrong. You can just see the shape of how they might, and you can't unsee it. So you hold back a little, always. You love with one eye on the exit. And it's a quiet kind of lonely, being the only one in the room who can already see the ending. I almost left this last one out, not because it isn't true, because it's the one that's hard to say without sounding like I'm fishing for sympathy. But it's the real center of everything else. So here it is, sign 5. Understood, but never known. This is the one sitting underneath all the others. You're the person everyone comes to. You're the one who explains things, who fixes the problem, who picks up at 2 in the morning when someone's falling apart. People trust your mind completely. They bring you their hardest questions, their breakups, their decisions, their messes. And you help. You always help. But notice something. When was the last time someone asked how you were doing and actually waited for the real answer? When did someone look at you, not for what you could solve, but just to check if you were okay? For a lot of high IQ people, the honest answer is, they can't remember. You become a resource, a genuinely useful one. People understand what you can do for them. Almost no one knows what's going on inside you, because you're so busy being the steady one that you never gave anyone the opening. And the few times you tried, you watched them get uncomfortable, and you quietly decided not to try again. There's a difference between being understood and being known. Being understood is people getting your ideas. Being known is someone getting you. The tired parts, the scared parts, the parts that don't come with a clever answer. You've spent your whole life being understood, and you are starving to be known. That's the loneliness. It was never that no one's there. It's that everyone's there for the wrong half of you. So what do you actually do with all of this? You don't get a lobotomy. The goal was never to think less, feel less, or see less. It's to respond to it differently. I'm not going to hand you a tidy little checklist. That'd be insulting. But a few things have actually moved the needle, for me, and for people I've talked to. And I'll be straight with you about the one I still get wrong. Principle 1. Find your one. Remember that feeling from a minute ago. Being everyone's resource, the one nobody thinks to check on? Your one is the person who checks on you. Picture them. Maybe somebody's already coming to mind. The friend you can text a half-formed weird idea at 11 at night, and they fire back something just as strange. You don't need a big circle. This kind of loneliness doesn't get fixed by more people. It gets fixed by depth. One person who meets you at full speed is worth 100 who like the dimmed version. So stop spreading yourself thin trying to be liked by everyone, and pour what you've got into the few who actually get you. Principle 2. Lower the bridge, not the IQ. You're about to send a long message explaining what you really think, and then you delete it down to, haha yeah. Stop doing that. Dimming yourself isn't kindness, it's hiding. But the fix isn't dumping the full, unfiltered version on people either. It's translation, not suppression. Find the one image, the one story that carries your big idea across. You don't shrink the thought. You build a bridge to it. That's not losing yourself. That's letting people finally reach you. Principle 3. Let some thoughts stay unfinished. And full honesty. This is the one I'm still bad at. You're lying awake, running the same situation for the 9th time tonight. Try something. Picture the thought like a light left on in another room. You don't have to get up and switch it off. You don't have to solve everyone, predict everything, close every loop before morning. Some thoughts aren't problems to crack. They're weather. Let them pass through. So if you're sitting there feeling a little exposed, like this video's been reading your mail, hear the real point of it. You were never broken. You were never too much. Your whole life, the speed and the depth of your mind have felt like the reason you stand slightly apart from everyone. But think about a lighthouse for a second. It stands alone, set back from the crowd, up high where the wind is. It looks isolated. But it wasn't built that way as a punishment. It's built that way so its light can reach the people far out in the dark and bring them home. The height was never the curse. The height is the point. Your mind isn't a wall that keeps people out. It's a light. And the right people, your one, your few, don't need you to dim it. They've been looking for it. So tell me, of the 5 signs, which one hit the closest? Drop it in the comments and read a few while you're down there, because you are genuinely not the only one who feels this. And if someone came to mind while you watched, the friend whose mind runs a little too loud for the rooms they're in, send this to them. It might be the thing that makes them feel seen today. I'm Soren. I make these for the people who think too much and feel everything. I'm glad you're here. I'll see you in the next one.